What do you remember about watching TV back in England? And I'm not talking about like what I would consider quote unquote new shows like Buffy or X-Files. I'm talking about because like to me the 4th season of Lois and Clark is still the new season. I'm living in a dream world. But I'm talking about like 60s reruns.
Oh man,
things like that. So like let me just paint a picture for you.
Okay, go on.
Okay, it's Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Our father's just got home from work.
Okay.
And he's sitting in the living room with the sweet sounds of Michael Schumacher tearing around a racetrack at full volume.
Okay.
And the announcer going, he's coming up the rear.
Michael Schumacher's
coming up the rear. Yes. The Grand Prix. And
that was very French. Very good. Go on.
Okay. Grand Prix. Or as I used to call it, the Grand Prix.
Of course you bloody did.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So the Grand Prix.
The Grand Prix.
Well, the Grand Prix. Now it's the Grand Prix.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
So you and I are sitting in the living room. No, sorry. He's sitting in the living room. We're sitting in the kitchen. What are we watching?
On a Sunday afternoon?
On a Sunday afternoon.
I don't know. Fawlty Towers?
Okay, I'll help you out. Okay, because
I really don't remember. I was way too.
Do you remember like watching things like Land of the Giants, for example, Time Tunnel?
No, man.
Mission Impossible.
That yeah.
So all of that stuff, all those 60s TV shows were on Channel 4, and we used to watch them on Sunday afternoons. You have no recollection?
None of those. I remember Mission Impossible.
The Avengers was on BBC, but it was also on like around the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the 60s TV show, The Avengers, nothing to do with Marvel. I think the Batman TV show was also on around that same time.
Yeah, so I remember that. Or I remember a lot of like things like old British sort of like comedy shows like
Are You Being Served?
Yeah,
Yes,
Fawlty
Prime Minister.
Towers and Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, so I don't actually have a very strong recollection of like those shows. I actually have very little memory of the Avengers TV show.
Right. I don't remember specifics, but I remember we used to watch it. I mean, I used to watch it, and also like things like Get Smart as well. That was also
that
on
too. Yeah.
All of those TV shows that for some reason, The Saint. Also, that was another one. But I just remember that the late 90s was a time when studios rediscovered all of those and decided that they were going to make big budget remakes of them, and some of them worked, like Mission Impossible.
Yep.
Addams Family, for example. Any of the other ones work?
Did The Saint work? The
remake? Saint, I mean, to be honest, like I don't really remember it so well, and that's probably the problem. I mean, I always liked Val Kilmer, but like, you know, I always found him to be a little bit of a bland leading man until he started doing more interesting roles like later on in the early 2000s, like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and things
that's
like
my
that.
favorite role of his, right?
But yeah, it wasn't great, and there were a bunch of failures in there. Like amongst them, the movie that we're watching tonight, The Avengers. Wild Wild West was another one, also based on a 60s TV show. So yeah, I just wanted to take you down memory lane, but I realized that I'm the only one here.
I'm sorry, no. It's my fault because most of the time back then that I remember is mostly Sunday mornings, which is cartoons and stuff like that. It was I suppose that's sort of connected to my love for animation. Really, it's just how much animation I was watching. Back then. But
Batman.
Yeah, the animated series. 100%.
That was on Saturdays. We had to get that recorded off TV on
not when I was a little bit older, because
when you were a little bit older, when they started showing the new Batman Adventures, like the new animated series.
Oh yeah. And then there was also, but they were showing like old ones. They were showing the original X-Men animated series on Sunday mornings, which was great. But I digress. The point is that I do have very vague recollections of what you're talking about, but I think I might have been that smidgen bit too young to remember it. Because nobody was chasing me around in a clown mask, so it wasn't like burned into my. Oh, here we go. Up yours.
Let it go.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm never going to hear the end of it. I mean, I'm saying I'm never going to hear the end of it, but it's not like I haven't not heard the end of it for the last however many years.
I'm telling you that you're going to be dying right? Trapped under debris, right?
What happened to me?
You were driving according to all of the rules of the road, as you're supposed to.
Of course.
And you're 67 and...
Fuck, you're not giving me a
5
lot
months.
of time.
I know. Well, I mean, it doesn't leave us a lot of time. And you're 67 and 5 months, and you're just sort of like thinking about how, oh god, there are some really good podcasts out there. Mine's better. And suddenly, a massive train falls out of the sky. Don't ask me how. Wormhole. How does the plane fly out of the sky in Donnie Darko, right?
Yeah.
Crushes the car. And I'm there, but I'm fine. Nothing happens to me.
Of course you are.
And I say, at least no one scared you to death in a clown mask. This went a little bit off the rails. I apologize. What were you going to say? What were you going to ask me? I don't know. I don't remember, okay?
I just do the intro. Let's just
fine,
do the intro.
Fine. What's our seat number?
Hello, and welcome to What's Our Seat Number, the show where we ask questions like, when is time spent, time wasted? The answer is, of course, when watching the 1998 remake of British TV show The Avengers, starring Ralph Fiennes and Uma Thurman, with Sean Connery tagging along in a role that even the mankini-clad star of Zardos found to be supremely embarrassing. I am Johnny Gross, yes, the Johnny Gross, and with me as always is my brother, 3D artist, philanthropist, and occasional celebrity dandruff collector, Simon Gross. Say hi.
Brilliant! Honest time,
yeah.
right? Okay, look at me. Don't look at your notes. Look at me, okay. Right? Honest time now. How long did you spend on that? No, don't look at me. How much time did you spend on that? Honesty circle. There's no judgment here.
I didn't clock in and clock out. Okay, I have no idea.
Give it to me, and this took me an hour. This took me the whole time between last podcast going up.
I'll tell you what it is. I thought about it. Like in the 10 minutes between getting really, really tired and actually falling asleep. And I wrote it down on my phone, and then I refined it this morning.
Very, very nice. Very good.
Okay, so The Avengers was suggested by our friend Michael Samoji, who has his own podcast and his own Johnny.
Mm-hmm, he does.
Yeah, be sure to check out the Tangent podcast, where he and his co-host Johnny, not me, go off on tangents, so it's not just a clever name. Now, we have a very small community thus far, but I figured that it would be nice to read out a couple of comments from the group. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the What's Our Seat Number group on Facebook. Mm-hmm. We also Twitter, by the way. We have a Twitter, and we Twitter.
We are Twitter.
Regularly, Twittering all night long. So we have a comment from Philippa.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Philippa. How you doing? Philippa says, you've mentioned the Page Master a couple of times now. I feel like you need to do it, and Si needs to face his fears.
It's really funny because I have... first of all, Philippa is a fantastic artist. Check her out on Twitch. Basically, I have faced my fears.
If they're going to check her out on Twitch, you want to...
It's just Philippa.
Okay.
Just Philippa. I have faced my fears on that one. I've seen the movie since being a child, and I actually really like it, and I actually really like that scene, with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. For those who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, is the scene in The Page Master where they face Mr. Hyde used to scare me, and Johnny used to capitalize on that. I have done that, but you know what? I would really love to do an episode where we watch a film that not only has live action but VFX to transition into animation, and then talk about the animation stuff. I'm really down. So if that's something that people would be interested in, I'm in.
Cool. So we have another comment from we know this guy's real name, but just for shits and giggles, we're going to call him the name that he calls himself on Facebook, which is Facebook. Facebook. Well,
would you like some more Chardonnay?
We're in Sean Connery mode tonight. Shakus.
Shakus. Yeah. Sounds like a rude word, but it isn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant.
He says, regarding Ghostbusters 2, we asked you why you think people don't like Ghostbusters 2. So Shakus says, I think the reason that people dislike the second one is that it's retreading on the same lines of the first film, technically telling the same story. I like the second film though.
So,
There's a whole conversation here. That I had with him
I've seen the whole conversation. I've also, as I know him, so I've spoken to him about this as well. He's guessing. He's guessing because that's what he thinks it is. I'd like to hear from people who actually really don't like Ghostbusters 2, but his theory is probably correct. People don't like it when sequels don't, try and go bigger. But then when sequels do try and go bigger, and then they don't do it well, people complain about it. So can't really win. And he's right that there are a lot of similar beats, but there are also, as we said in the last episode, like a lot of amazing character moments, and there's a change in tone and a shift in design as well, and visual effects prowess. So, I really appreciate it that he spent the time to argue with you as well on Facebook. Well, it wasn't an argument, it was a discussion. I like that he spent the time on it.
I'd like to see more of that. So if any of you listeners want to write us on Facebook or on Twiddle.
I believe that's what the kids are calling it today.
Twiddle. Right. So please do. Please write to us in the group or on the page, and we will talk about you where you can't fight back.
Also, just a little addition here. I really want to say, Johnny said at the beginning of this section that there are people who are listening to the podcast, and I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for taking the time to listen. Actually listen.
Yeah, we're averaging really about 50 listens an episode, which is great.
Really not bad going for 6 episodes. It's not bad.
We also just started a month ago.
I'm really, really grateful to all of you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. The next thing I just wanted to mention was that it's come to my attention that we are not alone.
What do you mean?
Our mother listens to the podcast.
Oh yes, this old thing.
Yes.
Not her. I mean the podcast is an old thing.
Oh,
well, it's
keep
new.
digging.
Oh boy! Wow,
digging.
that was fast. Have you noticed I haven't sworn? Or I don't think I have. I don't know. She's counting apparently. She sent me a message saying, I'm really enjoying the podcast. Right? You're both really funny, and I'm like your number one fan. But you do swear a lot.
Well, I think you, as I said to you in private, you swear a lot in the first episode, and then you kind of calm down a bit.
I don't know. I was doing that thing that I do where I'm like getting all huffy and uppity about something that someone said, and I was like, oh, how don't listen if you don't like it. And then I was like, maybe what I should do is I should commit to one episode just to make up swear words all the way through. Not this episode, because I think I have actually already dropped a couple of swear words, but we'll consciously in the next one we'll make it a game. Okay. All right. Will that help you, Mummy? Will that help you, with the listening? It just like offset that first episode with one with complete nonsense in it, and then that I'll be able to swear from then on. Please write in and let us know, but that would mean you'd have to open Facebook.
I just find it funny that we made a joke in the first episode about like our 1 or 2 listeners, and then I said hi, Mum, and then she listened to it like after the fact, like quite a while after the fact. So that's kind of meta to me. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is that in our synopsis, we do promise sexual swear words.
We do.
So we have to deliver.
I mean,
we can't just watch our P's and Q's. I mean, who the fuck do they think we are?
It's just one tiny little fuck.
Yes.
Okay? I was just going to say fuck once.
Okay.
I won't say it again.
Okay. All right. Well,
fuck.
I'll give her a version that's bleeped. Okay, it is time for the tagline game.
Oh, I'm so excited because I'll tell you what, I didn't actually write down my own, but while I was doing the dishes earlier, I came up with a couple.
Okay.
So
you want to
okay. What a horse's ass of a movie. Okay.
That's a good one.
All right. Oh, thank you. Great.
But that's kind of a retro one. That's like a sort of, it's not something that they would have written on it at the time, but it might be something that Bob from the Daily Star might write on the Blu-ray box.
Right. So you're getting like those very unhappy reviews underneath with like one star, like what a horse is awesome. But I'm sort of imagining it with like an SH at that horse's ass of a movie.
Right. Okay.
And the other one, I don't remember it. Come back to me.
Okay, I will do. All right. So, so your first tagline is, only the mission matters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second one is, when evil reigns, only one team can weather the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is, saving the world never goes out of style.
I've remembered what my one was, though. I don't know if I've remembered what my one was.
What was your one?
It was, No, I'll do it at the end. Come on, give me it again.
Only the mission matters.
Only the mission matters. Okay.
When evil reigns, only one team can weather the storm.
See, that's sort of tricky, right? Because this movie has a bad guy who's, trying to take over the world by controlling the weather.
Right.
So you've put that in there on purpose, or that's it? But go on.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Don't do that. Go on.
And the third one is saving the world never goes out of style.
Okay, so I was expecting it would be something like stupid, like, they're back or something, but obviously not. It's either, I think it's going to be the opposite of what I guess. It's either the last one or the second one.
The second one is when evil reigns, only one team can weather the storm.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going for?
Well, they're not a team, they're a duo. So it's not that one. But then it's going to be that one. I hate this game.
You can't see, but I have a shit-eating grin on my face. Only because I know.
I'm going to start cheating. I'm going to start looking at them. I'm going to make you look silly.
But is that your final answer? Are you going with that one?
The second one?
Yeah.
Yes.
You are correct.
Oh, finally I won. What do I get?
Cuddle.
Don't touch me.
Do you want to know what the other two were?
Yeah, go on.
Only the mission matters was Mission Impossible.
Right, I was going to say that.
Okay.
Obviously Mission Impossible.
And Saving the World Never Goes Out of Style is The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh.
2015.
I think that my second one was this movie will give you all the peels. Get it? Because, hang on. Get it? Right? Because, let me explain it. If you didn't get it, right?
Oh, fuck.
Emma Peel, right? Mrs. Peel,
yep,
right?
Yeah,
and yep. Peel being another word for feel, right? Like, as in mixing those two words up, like changing the P with the F.
So down.
Peel? Do you want to watch the movie?
Well, first of all, I wanted to ask you about your memories of the movie before we start watching the movie.
Right, I'll tell you. So, movie
Yes.
is absolute shite.
Yeah, but what are your memories of it?
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I remember of it. So I actually really hope that I'm going to come out of this liking it. That's like, I want to be turned around on it. I won't be.
Don't think you will.
So the movie, I remember Sean Connery a lot. I remember a lot of stuff. I remember the fight on the wires at the end.
Yeah.
With Mrs. Peel. I remember the sword fight. I remember Steed, John Steed. What a horse's ass of a name. Like, I remember that
yes,
all
what a bird.
from early childhood. Remember that?
Right.
I remember them walking in the bubble things, like I don't know the fuck. There's a weird aesthetic to this movie. I want to talk about
Absolutely.
that in the attic a little bit later.
Do you remember the multicolored teddy bears around the conference table?
I remember the multicolored teddy bears around the conference table.
The sponsors of this week's podcast, by the way.
Multicolored teddy bears?
Yeah. Multicolored teddy bears sitting around a conference table.
Get yours today.
They're obviously businessmen, yeah. So
why not?
Why not?
And what are they sponsoring it for? Like, just for teddydom in general?
I don't know, for shits and giggles.
Lovely. So I think that the thing that I really take away from the film is that every time I haven't watched it for a while, I'm hoping that the memory of it is worse than the actual movie, and then it always turns out to be that that's not the case.
Do you remember that CD-ROM that I had with all the trailers on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this was on it, but Entrapment was on it.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers was on it?
Yep.
Yeah. Entrapment is what cops do to thieves. He was in the twilight of his career at this point. I mean, he was like winding down, really. I think there's this and obviously Entrapment, which was kind of vanilla.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, yeah. And he also had that somewhere sandwiched in between was Gus Van Sant's Good Will Hunting retread, Finding Forrester. But yeah, I think he was. I'm not sure if he had fun making this movie, but he certainly looks like it, even though it must have read crap on the page.
I just don't know. We'll see when we look at it, but I can tell you that I enjoyed his performance more in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen than I did in this film.
Right.
And there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, and scenes that don't connect, and storylines that don't go anywhere. So
that's what I was. Yeah. So that CD-ROM.
Yeah.
So the other movie that was on there was Wild Wild West. Remember that?
Yeah.
So it had the trailer of that, and it's I just remember being really, really excited for it because, first of all, Will Smith was really big at the time.
Yeah.
And it was also Barry Sonnenfeld's follow-up to MIB.
Right.
So we were very, very excited for that. And I feel that way about that movie, like exactly what you just said. I sometimes try and rewatch Wild Wild West, hoping that I'm going to like it. I mean, there are certain elements of it that I do like, but I mean, it's so bad and like and what why are you looking like that?
I like Wild Wild West.
You like Wild Wild West. Well, I'm not saying that.
I understand why I shouldn't like it, and I know everything that's wrong with it, and when I watch it I cringe, but I like it. I know that's like the unpopular opinion, but I like it. It's so stupid. I want to hate it, but I can't.
I mean, it's terrible.
It's really pretty bad, but I like it.
That's gonna have to be one that we that we
I want to watch League of
Extraordinary.
See, you can't even do it either. No. Why are you trying it if you can't do it?
Fine, just LXG.
Good. I want to watch that one because there's a lot of VFX in there that I'd like to sort of pick apart.
Okay.
And also, I just, again, a movie that I should hate, but don't hate. And also, Van Helsing, like that one too. I know, all the films that you hate that I should like, that I should hate. God help Van Helsing. I mean, I don't like that about it, but I like the rest of it. I like the design of the werewolves.
I'll tell you what my issue with Van Helsing was.
I like Dracula.
I like all the design stuff. I really do. But like, I went to see that at Universal Studios when I was there for the theme park and everything. And that was to cap off the day, was to go to the cinema and watch Van Helsing. And I was really excited for it because the Mummy and everything, like, you know, Stephen Sommers, Hugh Jackman and Van Helsing, all that stuff. It was just really cool. And I came out of that so disappointed.
It's a shame. I think that I came out of it just really enjoying it. Like, I like the whole black and white thing at the beginning. You know what?
The black and white thing at the beginning is great.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do the movie. I think that we should do that.
Okay, so we're going to go and watch The Avengers. And Michael Samoji, I just want you to know this is your fucking fault. Well, that certainly was a film.
Oh, God, that sucked.
Do you want to know how long that was?
Go on.
That was 89 minutes. Fucking Shaw felt shorter than that.
Wow. It was just never ending. There was a point where you said, "Oh God, is it still going?"
Like, I think I said that twice actually.
It's like, this is the problem. I don't have many good things to say about it. That's like, after the Phantom. Right, where we basically shit-talked the whole film.
Yes, but I believe I said to you at one point during this film, fuck it, just put the Phantom on.
Right. You did. And the thing is that the Phantom is a masterpiece compared to this one. Like,
truly. It's inept. It's really inept.
It's a mess. It's a mess. Like, the whole way through the film, it's just so, oh, God. It's we'll get into it, but there's like so much faffing about and conversations. Like, I think there are a load of times where I turned to you and I just like went, "What are they talking about?" Like, I don't understand the conversations going on here.
Well, and, I feel like there's a lot to unpack here.
All right, so I'll let you lead us through it because I'm currently paralyzed beyond the capacity for rational thought.
Okay, my notes here are quite scant in comparison to previous episodes.
Really? Because I got like a lot here.
No, I mean, there's a lot of like, you know, what the fuck? It's like,
I see.
What is this? Why are they doing that? And where did that come from? And where did that plot thread go? Okay, but like, there's not a lot because, you know, I guess I care much less than. Well, I care much less.
I see.
I don't care. Okay. Let's start with the title sequence, which looks like they downloaded some cloud time-lapse footage from Envato Elements.
Yeah, it was extremely glitchy and trippy, and it looked like the text spinning on in that 2D fade-on kind of way that you would get in like PowerPoint preset animations.
Dear. Yes.
And it was just lots of warping and like weird, very weird, very strange. I couldn't.
Okay, so from the title sequence, we segue into a sword fight.
Oh, by the way, just in case people are interested, we lost Shosh midway through the title sequence this time.
Was she even planning to sit and watch the film?
She said so. She was like, "No," because the whole weekend I've been saying this movie's so shit. This movie's so shit. You want to watch it with us? It's really shit.
You're leading the witness. That's your problem.
No, like I told her, it's so bad. It's so bad that.
Okay, let's just. Soda.
So I'll have some as well. Thank you.
There you go.
Come on then.
Hold it up to the mic.
More.
Let's have a little bit of ASMR.
More. There we go.
There we go. Ooh, a little bit from mine as well. Ooh. Very nice.
Very bubbly.
Okay.
No, so I said to her, this is rubbish, this is rubbish, this is rubbish. And I said, do you want to watch it with us? And she's like, I'll pass. And then I made really good buttered popcorn. And then she was like, I'll stay for the popcorn. And then she didn't even stay for the popcorn. She was like, no, this is...
no. I mean, from the title sequence. From the title sequence.
Just from the title sequence.
Okay.
She doesn't suffer fools, that woman, and yet she's married to me. All right, shall we continue?
Okay.
Do you want to continue?
Of course I want to bloody continue. Speaking of which, that location from
Die
Another Day...
It will come back into this, yes?
We'll
You've got it written there?
Yeah. I was very excited for this movie. Not recently, not over this weekend. I was excited to do the podcast because I like talking to you about movies. No,
Sure.
I was excited for this movie in 1998.
Okay.
I have the novelization somewhere.
Do you? Interesting.
I do.
Do you have extra insights into the film because of it? Because sometimes the novelization...
I don't have I mean, it's at the parents' somewhere in a cupboard.
It's not there. I'm telling you, it's not there.
It is there.
Really?
I think it is, yeah. I still have I have the Eraser novelization, the
Hook.
Stargate novelization, the Hook novelization. There's a lot of that.
You collect a lot of stuff to do with films. You must be interested in this.
No, but this was from when I was a kid, from when I was a teenager. So all that stuff has still got to be there somewhere. But I remember being very excited for this movie because, I mean, on the face of it, first of all, I used to watch the TV series. And on the face of it, it's about spies in England. And, there's action and there's, like you know what I mean? Like a megalomaniac trying to take over the world, all that stuff. What does that remind you of?
James Bond.
Exactly. And who's playing the bad guy?
Sean Connery.
Exactly.
James Bond.
There's a lot of James Bond connections. I mean, obviously there's Ralph Fiennes. I mean, after the fact, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Playing M. Also the tester. I don't know if you noticed this, but the tester. I don't know his name. The tester from the opening sequence is the psychiatrist from Skyfall. Mm-hmm. So that's.
Do you think when they did casting for Skyfall, they were going, let's find all the people who made that shitty Avengers movie in 1998 and get them on this one?
Right. Well, I mean, Eddie Izzard didn't turn up in Skyfall, funnily enough.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I wanted to have a look at this because there's a few James Bond connections here. Obviously, John Steed himself, Patrick Macnee, was in A View to a Kill.
Wait a minute. Is this?
No. I just want to
okay.
I just want to talk about like in general, like he was. So Patrick Macnee was in A View to a Kill. Honor Blackman was Pussy Galore, and she was also like I think was she Emma Peel or was it Diana Rigg? Diana Rigg was Emma Peel.
Diana Rigg was Emma Peel.
Right. So they did like 2 seasons each, I think. Diana Rigg obviously played Tracy Bond in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And there's also like a couple of other, I mean, I think Joanna Lumley as well, because she also appeared in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And obviously, there's the Connery connection. There's quite a lot. So when I was a kid, it was kind of like a Bond fest, and I saw the trailer, and it was very, very sort of twee British, but like with an injection of kind of like this cool modern streak with with action, explosions, and whatever. I'm talking about the trailer.
Yeah.
And I actually went to see this movie in the cinema, and my initial reaction, I remember, was, "Huh?"
Mm-hmm.
And I think like and I was a stupid kid, so I would watch anything, but I think it took a while for the movie to lose me at that age, and I think it lost me at the teddy bears. That's when I looked at it and I went, okay, what the fuck is this? Who's playing a prank on me? Like, what is this? Can you just like stop the projection and roll the real movie, please? Like, what the hell's going on? What are these teddy bears doing here, sitting around a conference table? It's like the funkiest Spectre scene I've ever fucking seen. I thought that he was going to press a button and electrocute one of the teddy bears.
And what happens in reality is so much weirder.
Yeah.
Because he has these... What are they? They're like poison darts that are like on a lapel pin on his... his own teddy suit. And...
You'd think that all of that fur would provide some kind of cushioning or something. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's being thrown by James Bond, so, you know. But I also, like, I know the scene is coming. I know exactly where it is in the movie. I've seen the movie a couple of times. And the boardroom full of people in massive teddy bear suits in different colors is very, very, very odd. And it's...
Okay, I'm motioning for you to come forward so you get a little bit closer to the mic.
I'm too scared to move in my chair.
I'm not saying move in your chair. Move with your chair.
I can't. There's literally no room for the chair to move forward. So how about we do this? I'm going to move the microphone forward, and then that's going to fall on me. Is that all right?
Yes. Now give me some... finish yourself off with some final suds. Alan's Deep Bar.
What was it? It was... The new G64, the only car that literally says vroom.
Hello, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Right. Should we get back on track?
Do you want to go back? Do you want to do it again?
Watch the movie?
Sorry, my balls just packed up and went on holiday. And they ran away.
Oh, hell no.
Right, okay. So I was just saying that the teddy bears, it just always throws me and it always makes me go, what?
Yeah. So let's go through our shit. Okay. So first of all, you've got there are two sword fights in the first 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah. You've got that scene was in the trailer where John Steed's walking around a twee British street, and he says good morning to the constable, and then he judo chops him basically. And flips him over, and then he says good morning to the milkman, and the milkman cracks a bottle and tries to kill him. So I thought that was actually quite a good opening scene.
Well, I mean, the choreography is for shit, though, isn't it?
Yes. However, it just goes downhill from there. The whole mother-father thing, which I hate. Jim Broadbent.
Yeah.
Jim Broadbent.
There's a thing that he always looks like he's going cross-eyed.
Yes, indeed.
And
he's got that thing where he says, I don't know.
Do you not like look at him in this movie and he's like smoking cigarettes, but he's not actually smoking them? Like he's putting them in his mouth and he's kind of like going on them, and you're like going, smoke it. Just like fucking
smoke it or don't.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Just smoke it. please toke on it properly.
Okay, and then there's a scene where Steed and Peel are chatting. They're having a conversation, and it turns out, and they're in this guy's shop where he's obviously trying out his like attire kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he decides that he doesn't like the handle of the sword that he's using. He wants the rosewood one, right? So that is the whole reason for Steed and Peel.
I'm so sorry, I've already forgotten the scene that you're talking about.
So what I'm saying is that Steed and Peel are having a sword fight while having a simple chat in the shop.
Okay, yeah, the sword fight, right? But no, just the
so
thing.
What I'm saying is
the rosewood.
The only reason why they're having a sword fight while they're having that conversation is because he's supposedly trying out the handle.
Oh, right. Okay, that was never clear. I've got it written here. Why are they having a sword fight?
Yeah, it's just it kind of foreshadows the general disjointed dreamlike feeling of this entire film.
Yeah, I think dreamlike is
was not intentional, I don't think.
There's a lot of strange editing choices and lines that are kind of, I don't know, like jumping one off the other, and all of the lines are delivered in this monotone,
very strange.
If
any of you have ever watched Batman and Robin more than once, and I know you're out there, you can't hide from me. I'm one of them actually. So I don't know.
So am I. Should I
like,
be worried?
I don't know. What am I going to do to you? I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
So she is basically
What are you
delivering.
gonna do
She
to me?
being Uma Thurman, she's delivering these lines in exactly the same way that she delivers them in Batman and Robin. There's something about an anatomically correct rubber suit.
It's like she's got two modes. It's like where she's in actor mode and where she's in campy mode. Like where she's just like, okay, this role is rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, just camp
But she
it
did
out.
a few. This is like one after the other,
Yeah.
like 97 to 98.
Very strange.
Like she and Ray Fiennes at the time, he'd just come off The English Patient. How far the mighty fall?
Well, I mean, listen, he doesn't look like he's into it at all. Like, he's not putting any effort into it. He doesn't look like he's... Like, the only person who actually seems to be doing any kind of attempt at getting into the vibe is Sean Connery.
Well, he's chewing the scenery.
He is. And he's doing it well. I mean, he looks like he's having fun. And the thing is that...
He's always got a smirk on his face.
He's the grump of the lot. Like, normally he doesn't want to do... He thinks movies are rubbish, like that are like this.
No, I wouldn't say he thinks movies are rubbish.
When he said he was offered The Matrix and he didn't understand it, so he turned it down. And he was offered Lord of the Rings and he didn't understand it, so he turned it down. And he's like the kind of guy who, he was the kind of guy, and it seemed from interviews with him that he was just not impressed by a lot of stuff. And he's like, at this point in my career, it's like I'm not going to do stuff that's all fantastical and weird. And here
Except
he is
that
doing
those are the
this
only
movie.
things that he accepted at that stage of his life.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, he's the grump of the lot. So you kind of look at him and you're going, well, he's wearing this teddy bear suit and he's doing it.
The Rock, the last good movie he was in?
No.
1996. And then there was this, and Finding Forrester, and LXG, and Entrapment.
Entrapment.
I think that's it.
Oh, Entrapment wasn't a very good movie either.
That's what cops do to thieves. Yeah. So he's
Why am I not surprised, you piece of shit?
So he's like munching on the scenery the whole way through, and he's always got a smirk on his face, or a schmirk, I should say. I mean, look, I mean, there are certain things that he just delivers with relish, like now is the winter of your discontent. He's got all that stuff going on.
So, some interesting things like story-wise, right? Because we're talking...
What wise?
Right, exactly. Is that we're talking about the very disjointed quality to it. And then you were also talking about the sword fight and how there was like a... Try and explain this to me, because none of this makes sense. She's a suspect.
And they bring her into Mother's office.
And it's
Mother being the M, I guess.
They've shown her where the entrance to the ministry is. How to get in. She's not in handcuffs. And then there's... Why is why is Steed naked in the sauna?
Yeah, I've written here, Rafe's naked
buttocks. I've just written buttocks. That's all I've written here to remind me about that. I'm sorry, I just take them very quickly. Buttocks. And then, the whole thing where it's like, you will be allowed to prove your innocence. Okay.
Well, if you didn't do it, then you have to find out who did it. Like, what?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
But then it's like, and now you're going to team up with our agent and be given, our gadgets and stuff, like your own boots. I'm very confused.
The boots seem like a gift from Steed.
Right.
And they also appear to have a tracking system
which is a little bit sus.
What?
They're a gift from Steed and they've got a tracking device in them.
Right,
very
indeed.
sus.
Indeed. And also the whole thing with the tea set in the car.
What is their obsession with tea in this film?
Because I
don't want to hear it's because in England
I didn't say that.
Sorry, you also wouldn't have said it like that. Please continue.
What the fuck?
Sorry. Soda.
The tea thing, I think, is a carryover from the TV series. But
okay,
I'll tell you what my
obsessive.
issue is. No, I'll tell you what my issue is. 1 second, soda. ASMR.
Lovely.
Okay, I had an issue with the fact that Mother, played by Jim Vorben, is sitting at a desk in front of a bunch of computer screens. So it's obviously set in the present day with an insanely unrelenting, in your fucking face 60s design and aesthetic, including Keeley Hawes' hair, right? Yep. And the catsuit and the and obviously like they had to bring in the the bowler hat and all that stuff, but either set it in the 60s or set it in the present day. And I didn't get it. I mean, you kept saying steampunk.
I've got a lot of stuff about design here.
I don't understand why.
It wasn't so much steampunk. There's a steampunk-esque design to the... We'll come back to design for the attic, okay? When we go up the staircase, I have... Have you fixed the creaky door? I've been assured that the steps are no longer a hazard, but apparently there's something wrong with the railings. So just don't touch the walls or don't touch anything. Okay, just arms at your sides, and the door's not. It's fixed. It closes.
What about the asbestos?
No,
get that sorted.
No, and also
the termites.
And also the ghouls in there are still there, and the shadow creatures that go still there.
Didn't you? Oh my god, I had nightmares about those. Didn't I tell you that we weren't doing Halloween anymore? Like Halloween's gone, past.
Unfortunately, the attic is the attic, and it just is what it is. Like I don't clean up.
I see.
Look at my storage unit downstairs. Anyway, so what were we saying? Yeah, we'll come back to it in the attic.
Yeah, but we're talking about like the Britishness thing, and everything's all very twee, very let's sit down, have a cup of tea. Everything's a quip. The script is just really trying too hard. Like it's every single line.
I don't think you could say that about this script.
What, that it's trying too hard?
That it's trying.
No, it's trying.
Apart from my patience,
it's trying to be funny. And I think that that in general, everything that comes out of each character's mouth is completely and utterly nonsensical.
But speaking of British, I've written here, Mrs. Peel couldn't find a famous actress with an English accent. Is she cast just for sex appeal? Which has been written APEELE?
Oh my god!
Question mark. There are a couple of these. I'll throw those back.
I have. Oh, thank you very much. I had another one of those tomorrow. I have actually written down here that Uma Thurman is a very strange casting choice for this. And obviously she was hot at the time. And no, that's not me being sexist. I'm talking about like hot in terms of demand. I don't know. I don't quite understand why they cast her for this, but her accent leaves quite a bit to be desired, especially since everything has to be twee and British. It's like, I mean, Jeremiah Chechik, the director, is Canadian, I believe, and a lot of people wrote, and we'll get to this when we get to Trivia Corner, but a lot of people wrote about how the American studio producing a quintessentially British remake of a British TV show didn't quite understand the Britishness of it and oversaturated it with Britishness. With like, it's that kind of that thing in Family Guy where the Brits all have like this these ugly bad teeth and they all talk like yes. So it's that kind of thing. It's the American sort of viewpoint of what a Brit is. It's very stereotypical and but there are also there are actresses who are American who can hold a British accent. Oh, I've moved on from that, but yeah, I mean, there's I was talking generally about the over reliance on sort of British stereotype and whatever.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that comes through in her performance.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Very exaggerated.
Her performance probably would have rung a little bit more true if she hadn't been sort of playing a caricature.
Right, exactly.
And also she might have, I would maybe have given a shit about the characters if they all hadn't been caricatures.
Right.
Because it's one thing not to take anything seriously, but to still create characters that you care about. Because I mean, look, if you look at Austin Powers, that's a spoof. That's a full-on spoof.
Yeah.
But there are still moments in there like when Austin sort of laments about the fact that that Mrs. Kensington got older and moved on and got married and had kids, while he was frozen. The whole Frozen thing is a cliche, and it's very much a joke. Like it's it's a punchline, but then they take that and they use that as like this affecting scene that they have in the hotel together, and you see him falling in love with her, and that's a spoof. This movie can't call itself a spoof, but at the same time, it doesn't take anything seriously. Therefore, there's nothing there for me to sort of anchor with the to anchor the characters down for me to identify with, for like a window for me. The entire thing is just incredibly weird, and I know that they cut down a lot of things, and it was originally 115 minutes long, and they cut it down to 89 minutes.
Perish the thought.
Yeah, but I'm saying that what is there is really, really weird and trippy, and I can't imagine that the extra time that if they would have, if Jeremiah Chechik had gotten his wish and he went to Warner Brothers and said, "Hey, I'll do a director's cut and I'll do it for free," and they said, "No, nobody wants to see that," so I can't understand what that movie would have looked like. It would have just been more of the same for longer, which to me sounds like hell, quite honestly.
I don't know. I saw someone had written on one of the, because I did a lot of frantic digging for anything on the VFX in this movie online, and I just came across somebody who'd written, "Man, we really need a director's cut of this film," and I'm like, No, we don't.
Please don't.
I've got.
It's like there's an exec sitting there going, "Oh God, we let Snyder do it. Now everybody wants a fucking piece. What about what's his name? Suicide Squad. David Ayer.
Yeah, there you go.
David Ayer's coming and going, oh, there's so much of Jared Leto on the cutting room floor.
I'm not down with all the, directors cutting and save
the thing is that the Snyder cut of Justice League actually benefited from that, and it was actually quite a good movie, but it was just because it was so horribly chopped up before.
Yeah, it was that they'd gone so far in the other direction, and
the reshoots with Joss Whedon and etc. That I don't know if Justice League had come out in its 3.5 hour form from the get go, would it have been as popular as the Snyder Cut was? And I'm saying popular online because I don't think it made as much money as Warner Brothers wanted it to, even in streaming. But the popularity from the response from the fans was overwhelmingly positive. And I also I liked really,
it too.
Really
I enjoyed it too. I'm just saying that I don't it was a novel thing that it happened.
Yeah.
But then the fact that now it's let's see what else we can get to,
not every film deserves that.
Yeah.
And I think that Snyder was taken out of that movie in sort of tragic circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think that he deserved to have his vision at least partially realized, because when you look at the DC comics that he's working from, there's so much interesting stuff going on there that would have completely taken it in a different direction that no DC movie has ventured in before. And it just would have been really, really interesting to see that two-parter that he was planning on making. Anyway, I digress. We hate the Avengers so much that we've gone completely off
talking about something else. I'll tell you what I've written here in my notes, right?
Yeah.
The first thing that I've written here is, and I'm assuming this is to do with Sean Connery because I can't remember anymore, but moustache, exclamation mark. Lovely.
It's got handlebars.
I don't understand. So I'm going to name some things here that I feel just don't go anywhere.
Quick fire round. Just give it to me. Yeah, let's go.
Things that don't go anywhere. What is Mrs. Peel's picture doing in Sean Connery's house?
Above his
piano.
Pipe organ.
Yeah, okay. Phone booth in the middle of nowhere on his estate.
How now, brown cow?
Yeah. Teddy bears, what the fuck? Emma Peel and John Steed don't seem fazed by the two dead teddies. Like, they just walk into the room. They're like, Okay. You are a Gemini, Mrs. Peel. How did you know? Quote. That's the line. Alice, the old woman, says to her, "You are a Gemini, Mrs. Peel. How did you know?" And then she goes, Okay? Perfect example of this movie. Just things not going anywhere, right? Father is blind. Or is she? Or isn't she? All the way through the movie. No consistency on that. Right, this is something that I noticed all the way through the movie. Steed doesn't do anything at all throughout the film, right? A tracking device in her boots. But Steed is quite useless. He's just following her around, looking at the balloon and not actually doing anything. And then she has to jump out of the balloon and then minutes afterwards because she
somehow survive also.
Well, I mean, she landed in a big clump of snow, like that's fine, but whatever, and then he starts running towards her. Mrs. Peel. There's no chemistry in their kiss. Very, very awkward, teenagery kind of kiss.
Oh, so that was another thing I mentioned to you while we were watching it. That Uma Thurman, also in Batman and Robin, and I'm sure in other movies that she's done, when she does the stage kiss, she sucks in her cheeks a la Roger Moore, and it just looks weird.
Yeah.
Continue.
Choreography is rubbish. Sean Connery leching is weird AF. I've written ribbons, but I'm assuming what I meant is that the film has been cut to ribbons. I don't know. Maybe there was something with the ribbons.
I don't remember any ribbons.
I don't know. I think at some point I just stopped actually taking notes. Why are they walking in 2 plastic bubbles? Tell Johnny I don't care. Sean Connery is quite good in this. Looks like he's having a little bit of a laugh. Written LAFF.
At the expense of everybody else, he's the only one who actually knows he's in complete and utter bollocks.
Oh, this is... I've written this one as well. I did it all! T? Because that line just slayed me. I died, basically. That's it. I'm out. What you got?
Okay. I'm also going to read my notes.
Go on, just read the bit, yeah.
Strange, dreamlike cinematography, soft focus. I don't have to say anything about that. It's weird. Sean Connery is leching at her and getting aroused by weather.
Yep. Oh, no, I've got
the thing with the clouds.
Hang on. Where did I write that? I did write
He said something about, like, my
One
nana.
should never fear getting wet.
Okay.
That's what he says to her, right?
And he says something like, my nana used to tell me the names of the clouds, and then Mrs. Peel starts naming the clouds.
And he starts
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Great.
I've written here plastic props.
Yeah.
Did you see the flower?
Yeah.
Plastic. Fantastic. I find myself not listening to the dialogue.
Though, yeah, I have to admit there were a couple of dialogue sequences where I tuned out, and then I was
completely.
like,
I have no idea what was going on, and it's my own fault.
I did try. I
really did. I thought I was concentrating, and then I realized I wasn't.
Yeah, it's like where you're reading a book and you're determined to finish it, and then you get to the bottom of the page and you're like, fuck, I haven't actually been reading.
Right,
any of
you
this.
read like a page and you realize you just like none of it went in.
Yeah.
Why are Steed and Peel just wandering around his facility?
Yep.
The locations and production design are just odd. Okay, there's that thing where her double attacks her, and then there's like 3 puns, one after the other. She says something about you had to save me from myself, and then he says, I thought I was saying double, and then she says that makes 2 of us.
Right, yeah.
Oh god. In general, very tough to follow. I put here bees ? I've written here, why would they split up in a fucking maze?
Right, that was another thing that I've missed a couple of these. I've got... Okay. Oops. So when they go into the maze, right, what's her name? Alice, the old woman who goes, right? Has said to them, I know the way in, right? I'm going to take you through a back entrance. And they've not gone in yet. And she goes, we should split up. And... which is very strange. And then the final Mrs. Peel pun.
Split up in a maze, I don't get it.
The final Mrs. Peel pun is at the expense of Eddie Izzard when he smacks into his stunt double comes smashing into the thing at the end. And I've written... Oh, you want me to save that for when you get there?
No, go on.
No, he's going to have to peel himself off the wall.
Very good.
Thank you. Do you want to know how it's spelled? It's P-E-L-E-L-E.
I got it, yeah. I completely lost my composure.
Do you need a minute?
Maybe.
I'll tell you what, pause it. We'll come back.
It's okay.
Or get a grip.
I got it. Okay.
Oh man,
I've written it. I've written it. Oh my god! I don't know if this is fun for any of you, but
it's really not.
I haven't laughed like that in a long time.
All right,
anyway,
just try and do this. Okay, shoot through it.
All right. No one talks normally in this movie. At one point, I just wrote, "Just slap it all together. We'll market the shit out of it. It doesn't have to make sense." Colonel Invisible Jones. Okay, so at one point in this movie, John Steed goes to visit a colleague or whatever.
I think he's some sort of expert, like, because he lives in the archives, and it's like he goes down there to ask him if he knows about the weather thing. Because apparently, and I don't know if this is obvious, but I felt clever, in quotes, that I noticed that they had mentioned that August de Winter's connection to this whole thing is that he used to work at the ministry, right, at the secret.
I did not know that. Were we watching two different movies, or was I just not paying attention?
Am I wrong? I thought that was possible. How he knows mother. Yeah, father. The blind
mother.
one.
Oh yeah, maybe, possibly. I just
I thought that was it, and so that's how there's a connection to him through the archives. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Why am I trying to find any kind of connective tissue?
Attention. Okay, so so the way I feel about Colonel Invisible Jones, so he's basically invisible.
Yeah.
I don't know if he got his name Invisible Jones before he became invisible, or maybe he was born that way. And his parents thought, "Oh, there's a clever name."
Well, no, he says that he had an accident because he said he was developing a new form of camouflage, and then it sort of was permanent.
Basically, there's an invisible character in this movie, and I wrote, "This movie has no rules. It's like the animated cat from Last Action Hero." I also wrote, "This movie is only 89 minutes long. Fuck, it feels longer." She fell off the balloon and survived. Why are they walking in bubble things? What an odd mode of transportation. Okay, so the action scene at the end where he's fighting with
Sean
Connery. The action is extremely disorientating, and they keep crossing the line, which, for any of you that don't know, the 180 rule means that like if you cross the line, characters change places between angles, and if they change places, you ruin the geography of the scene, so you can't really tell where everybody is and what's going on, etc., etc. That's how I felt.
Yeah, I noticed
watching that action scene.
I noticed it a few times during the movie. There was some of that in the fight where Eddie Izzard's character takes Steed's hat, and he and the other henchmen fight him.
That was a very silly thing to do.
Yeah, so I noticed them crossing the line on it.
Okay, at the end of the movie, spoilers, for anyone that cares.
Just pain.
Yeah. Sean Connery gets zapped with lightning. Highlander style. It was the quickening.
Lovely.
Yeah. There's another witch-coloured wire scene.
Yeah.
In a big metal orb. Why is it a big deal that she doesn't want a fucking macaroon?
It's because at the beginning of the movie, Steed says to him, "Don't touch the macaroons." Mother eats the macaroons, and she on purpose takes the macaroon.
Oh, right.
And she sort of gives him a look like, "See, I took a macaroon." And he gives her like this look of, "How dare you? I told you not to take a macaroon." And then at the end of the movie, she's playing she's playing the game.
Okay, I have a question.
Who gives a shit?
How early on in the movie was that macaroon scene?
It was at the beginning.
So I checked out pretty early on then.
Yeah.
I also noticed, this might be something for VFX Corner, but...
You mean VFX Attic.
Sorry, VFX Attic. But I noticed that there's an issue that plagues a lot of late 90s movies that contain CGI, which is that the CGI in itself is rendered in a different frame rate to the rest of the movie. Now, obviously, all movies at that time were shot on film at 24 frames per second, and you can see the difference in frame rate. There's another one in Existenz when there's like the two-headed creature that climbs up on the car at the gas station, and you can see like this weird motion blur, this weird smoothing that like looks like it was like exported at 60 frames a second or something like that. And there's another one in The Faculty, which is when the parasite is swimming around the tank. So I noticed that here as well. There's quite a few moments of that, and a lot in the B sequence. So yeah, that's my list. That's most of my issues with this movie.
Would you like to go to Trivia Corner?
Trivia Corner. The TV show that this movie is based on ran from 1961 to 1969. And it was created by none other than Sidney Newman, who also created Doctor Who.
Oh, wow.
This movie was not screened for critics because, as the Warner Brothers press office put it, we wanted the public and the press to be able to discover the film together.
Oh, dear. That's because they knew it was shite.
Yeah. Not screening a movie, especially one of such a significant budget, is usually a sign that the studio has no faith in it. This movie ultimately lost about $40 million. Wow.
Not surprising, particularly.
So I want to talk a little about the cuts made. They vastly cut down the running time after test screenings, reducing 115 minutes to 89 minutes, sacrificing much coherence and continuity in the process. Key scenes removed, here we go, included the opening sequence in which Mrs. Peel's evil clone infiltrates and destroys the Prospero science installation.
Not needed.
Not needed, we got it on the CCTV footage. But it would have been nice to have some kind of ambiguity there, because she just sort of walks into the office and then they go, oh, by the way, you're a suspect. Early trailers included the scene where she says the words "how now, brown cow" in a false telephone box to gain admittance. These words are later used in the film when Stephen Peele used them to enter. Yeah, I know. The movie was originally scored by composer Michael Kamen. If anybody doesn't know, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, all the Lethal Weapon movies he scored in collaboration with Eric Clapton, and he also scored License to Kill. So he apparently included the original Avengers theme throughout. In the finished movie, Joel McNeely includes it in the beginning and the end. But not really so much in the actual body of the film. So Michael Kamen was unable to rescore the film after the radical editing, so was forced to drop out. The original cut has yet to surface. This is what I talked about. Warner Brothers has no plans to release a director's cut or special edition of any form, despite the fact that the director Jeremiah Chechik has offered to recut the film for free.
Wow, they just really don't like the movie.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, I understand why.
Okay, fans dislike the film for its disrespect to the series, particularly the introduction of a romance between Steed and Peele.
Yep.
The original script was used... Here we go. The original script was used in the film's novelization and included all the material which was first shot and then removed from the film. I have to read the novelization now, won't I?
You have to go there and prove that it's actually in their house.
Well, I'm sure it is. I remember seeing it not long ago. Ralph Fiennes said of this movie, "I think it's a badge of honor to have a real flop on your resume."
Wow.
Way to find the silver lining, Rafe. Eddie Izzard said that he took the role in this movie in order to meet Sean Connery.
Everyone in this film is so ridiculous. But he does... So Eddie Izzard does a lot of like Sean Connery impressions in his stand-up.
Yes.
And he's a big fan of Sean Connery. So
right.
I can see that.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you know, there's no...
His character has no lines apart from one dubbed line that I'm not even sure is said by him.
Okay, I'll get there in a second. It's at the bottom of this page.
I'm sorry.
Dame Diana Rigg was sent the script with a view to her playing Alice. She passed.
I'm shocked. I'm really shocked.
Here's an interesting one. You're going to like this. At one point, David Fincher was interested in writing and directing this movie with Charles Dance starring as John Steed.
Ooh,
I would have
watched that film
out of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ralph Fiennes was signed while he was in the midst of filming The English Patient and before he became a breakthrough star. However, he'd already played Amon-Gut in Schindler's List. So... I mean, he was already like known.
Must have known him a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was before sort of, you know, Harry Potter is dead.
Yeah. The film. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about vis-a-vis Eddie Izzard's death scene.
Go on.
The film was originally awarded a PG rating by the MPAA. Fearing that fans of the original show wouldn't go watch a PG-rated adaptation of the show, Bailey was given an additional line in post-production for the dub, which included the word fuck to push the rating. That's not entirely accurate. The entire line is the word fuck. So there you go. Watching the film, though, the voice that said this line is very evidently not Eddie Izzard's, and he was unavailable to dub the line into the film. I find that to be one of the most ridiculous pieces of trivia I have read this evening, and that's saying
something for sure.
They just wanted to bump the rating up to PG-13, so they had someone dub in the word fuck. That goes to show the level of competence that went in to making Avengers 98.
It's very strange because the original Avengers isn't exactly full of fuck and bless. I don't
know. The original
it's really
Avengers
not in
is
keeping
a 60s
with the rest
TV
of the
show.
Yeah.
It was on during the day.
Before the watershed.
Indeed.
Drop page.
Well, that was Trivia Corner. Thank you very much.
Trivia Corner.
Do you have any awards that you'd like to award this movie?
I would. I have one actually.
You have one?
Well, I have a couple, but I've written one. I've written one down. See, now, at the beginning of the film, we were saying that Steed is doing that whole test, as it were. They're all sort of going, "Well done, Steed," right? And other people go, "Oh yeah, well done, Steed," and all that. There's a very quick shot. I don't know if you notice it. Blink and you'll miss it. But there is an extra who I would like to give the award to. This guy is sitting on the roof of whatever place they are, and he awards him a 9. He lifts up a little card that has a 9 written on it. He's sort of saying, "You did this well. This is your score," right? And what I've written is, what did he do wrong? He made it through the test. They're all going, "Well done, Steed," right? And you've got him twatting the old woman or whatever it is. What did he do wrong that he only got a 9? Anyway, I want to give that guy an award because he holds up that piece of paper like he means it.
Like a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Worst line, because I don't think there's a best line.
Go on, you give me yours, I'll give you mine.
Definitely that hat trick of, "Oh, I thought I was saying double. Save me from myself, blah, blah, blah."
One should never fear getting wet.
There you go.
That's a bad line.
Yeah.
That's a very bad line.
Yeah.
Also, what is it that Peel says to Sean Connery's character? She goes, "Have we met before, or is it just the rain that's familiar?" What the fuck are you saying? So yeah, I got a couple about it. The whole, you might as well award the whole movie, like every single line written.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to award Worst Actor to Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
She's just terrible in this movie. Yeah. Absolutely terrible.
Although I would say that Ralph Fiennes comes a close second because he's really not into it and he's bored.
Shoddiest visual effect.
There are some really bum composites in the movie. There are some things like they cover up traffic on either side of a ramp leading down to the ministry. And there's one shot at the end where it's kind of shaking about, like it's not really tracked properly onto it. But I don't really think there's enough visual effects in the movie. Like, a lot of stuff is done practically with a lot of models and stuff. We'll talk about it. But I think the bees look pretty bad. The final
shot is my...
Yeah, that's a really, really bad shot. You're right.
Horrible pullout that just keeps on going and going and going, and nobody looked at it and said, maybe we should fade to black more quickly on this one.
So there are a few of those. A few of shots that of London, I'm assuming. Right?
Yeah. It says, I had a look and apparently it was shot in and around London.
Okay. No, again, I said this to you during the movie. I don't care where it was shot. I care where it's set. Right? Like the film
It goes back to what Austin Powers says in the Spy Who no, not in the Spy Who Shagged Me, in the first one, in International Man of Mystery, where he says, it's funny. No, in the Spy Who Shagged Me, I was right. You should go with your instincts and trust yourself. I'm saying that to myself right now. Come on, you can do this. You can do this, Johnny.
Fallen to pieces, haven't you?
Absolutely. I got the giggles, and that
really
was the end
you.
of me. Yeah, absolutely. So Austin Powers says, it's funny how England looks absolutely nothing like Southern California.
Right.
And they're obviously driving through the Hollywood Hills. So I look, I did think that the set design was very strange, and there was no cohesiveness between the locations. Like it felt like, in that way that she walked from one room to another, and it looked like she'd walked from one movie to another. It looked very, very strange.
It was very jarring. It's very odd. So I think,
but it was shot in England, so apparently what you're seeing is actually England.
Yeah, but they do a lot of stuff and this is why I was saying that they've done some. Is it like matte paintings and stuff, like weird composites of models or of paintings over the city to make it look a little bit different, a little bit
more 60s, a little bit more
I don't
steampunk.
know if it's more 60s. There's tubes all over the place in weird places, like on one building, and it's very odd. We can talk about it in the attic.
No, but I feel like a lot of directors you listen to Francis Ford Coppola talking about how he got his inspirations from this artist, and the aesthetic of William Blake or whatever it is, and and I just feel like Jeremiah Chechik, the people from the art department coming at him and going, what do you think of this? And he's going, yeah, sure, do whatever you want. That's what I think. It's just it's a pastiche of styles that don't gel together.
You're kind of stepping on.
Oh, sorry.
Stuff,
please. Okay, so let's walk up the rickety staircase.
Don't.
I will not touch the rails.
Anything.
I know. I don't want to get gonorrhea. All right, fine.
Shall I do the jingle?
Yes, do the jingle.
Join me in the VFX Attic. Where else can you see VFX in an attic other than VFX Attic?
Oh, very good.
It's just a jingle for VFX Attic. So the VFX supervisor for this film is called Nick Davis. There are many things that can cause VFX to go down the potty, but once you hear
down the potty,
once you hear what else he's worked on, you might sort of go, what? The Dark Knight,
rubbish.
Edge of Tomorrow, and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, all those are crap.
So he could have been.
No, I don't believe that.
He's working. The visual effects were produced by Cinesight Europe. The digital effects producer was Alex Bicknell, with additional stuff created by the Computer Film Company, and that could be an indicator for us as to what happened. There was some
too many cooks.
Yeah, just too many cooks and nobody keeping everything together, which is, as you just stepped on the toes of it, I'll write it, it's what I've written here, is that...
Well, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We've said it's fine.
Oh,
no one's listening.
All right.
No one's listening. All right. So, basically, there's no cohesion, right? There's no visual...
Much like this episode.
Feel that even, we're doing fine. Look, there's no artistic direction. It doesn't feel like there's an art director who knows what they want things to look like, and that there's a design rule book, right?
Right.
And
a Bible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like these guiding lines that just sort of say, these are the aesthetics we're going for. It's Art Deco and steampunk and all these other things, and it's like they've kind of done it in some places, and then you've got like some French mansion kind of thing going on in Sean Connery's estate.
Yeah, it looked like she just walked into Amadeus.
Exactly, and then it's like you like in Versailles or something. It's really weird, and then you go downstairs and she's run into this endless staircase loop, and this weird it goes from these beautiful French colors to this strange white marble blank room, And, you know, another example, by the way, of a scene where Ralph Fiennes' character does absolutely fuck all is when she jumps through the window. He's been looking for her, and he's like, "Oh, Mrs. Peel, what are you doing on the floor?" Right? And so I've written here, where is this movie set? It's full of Britishness, but it feels so foreign. The set design is almost steampunky, but only in parts, and it's like an alternate version of Britain, which would have been super duper interesting if they'd actually committed to that. Right? And I think that you could have gotten away with a lot of the weird shit that was going on if they would have committed to it being alternate, you know, Britain. Anyway, there's a lot of shoddy matte painting, covering up of, you know, the city, and as I've said, of the ramp leading down to the ministry. The VFX looks really poorly composited in certain scenes, like the CGI bees. The lighting doesn't quite match up. I mean, there's some reflection stuff going on there, which is fine, and you can definitely tell when there's a practical mechanical bee, you know, that's fallen on the ground, and you know, the model and the practical one are actually quite close. But then you have like some weird close-up shots of like the bee moving its head, and it's very strange, and the shading on it, the shaders that they're using, the reflections. I mean, this is obviously before such inventions as HDRIs, high dynamic range images, which are very well, they're images with high dynamic range. No, but basically pictures that you can use to sort of project real lighting onto a 3D scene. It's images that store light and color data. And they're used now to sort of, you know, when you're on the set, you can take HDR eyes and, you know, with your camera, and you can create them. And then when you're trying to put a CG character into a scene, you have the exact lighting from the scene, and you can make sure it's coming from the same direction as your actors and things. So things that just they weren't doing it back then, but there were other things that they could have been doing to make it look good, I'm sure. Because there are other movies coming out in the same year, like Lost in Space, where, okay, we don't like that movie, but there's some good CGI in it, like the spaceship. There's some stuff going on there that is good.
Another example of a wonky 60s TV adapt. Exactly.
I said to you, like, during the movie, like, when did Lost in Space come out? Because it reminded me of it, not, you know, completely. But anyway. There's a lot of practical stuff going on, blowing up of you know, models, and I dig that shit, because I'm like, you know, I will take a fluid simulation or a building exploding simulation, like in a movie like 2012, where it's all being destroyed and, you know, sidewalks are exploding and they've got, you know, CG debris going everywhere. But, you know, look at a really good model explosion and you see all the splinters and the pieces going everywhere.
So you mentioned a Roland Emmerich movie, which is usually my way of sort of explaining to people why I prefer the sort of the physical model work and like blowing up something that's actually there versus the CG simulation of an entire environment and the CG fire and all that stuff. And if you take a movie like Independence Day and look at all of the model explosions, and they use CGI there to punctuate things.
Yeah.
But then you look at Independence Day 2, and you can see the major difference between the two of those, because Independence Day 2 used a lot of CGI. And I'm talking about excessively. Almost every scene contains a shit ton of wall-to-wall, you know, frame edge to frame edge of CGI. And that to me is just like, I mean, you hear Roland Emmerich talking about it on, in the special features and all that kind of stuff, how they, you know, it's so much easier to use CGI and how he prefers it and the aesthetic and whatever. But if you put those two movies side by side, you can absolutely see which one's better and why. Because one of them feels tangible and real, and one of them feels like a computer game.
Well, I keep on saying this, and I will keep on saying it, because I think that it's a point that I would like to hammer home, is that if you can do something practically, you should do something practically. Like CGI should be for things that we cannot create in real, like that don't exist in real life.
Right.
For example, you know, in a movie like Free Guy, you know, which I haven't seen yet, but I just watched a Corridor Crew VFX artist react. they have the visual effects supervisor for that movie and others as well, talking about all the... I really recommend that show, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you should go look at it. But the...
I do.
And not you, I'm talking to people listening to the podcast. I know that you look at...
Hello, people.
Hello, people. Oh, you're still here? Really? Surprising. But there's a scene where... like a compactor, like in the Star Wars compactor scene,
right,
in the trash chute, right, where it's... So that's what's happening to the street. And they're driving their car through it. And the concrete and everything shattering. And you can see the cracks, like... crawling along where it's being pressured, right, and into this compactor sort of state. And that's something that you cannot really do practically. You could do it, but like there's something about doing that in CGI that just makes sense, mostly because the movie takes place inside of video games. That also makes sense. Right. But like there are moments in movies where I go, why did they need to do that in CGI? Like I was looking at this film and the bees, they had practical props for it. They could have filmed them on a blue screen and had them flying in and, you know, lit them from the similar direction or, you know, whatever. But it just, it's not even good CGI, so I don't know why they did it. And it's, if you have the practical prop, I don't know why you're bothering.
I think that a lot of the time, look, I don't dislike CGI. I don't like it when it's so in your face that you're sitting there and your brain is subconsciously or otherwise going, hey, look, CGI.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, when it's well done, they're using an element that is practical.
Yeah.
And then using CGI to enhance it.
Yeah.
And if you look at things like The Mandalorian, and the leaps and bounds of the sort of virtual production technology that they've developed, or if you look at even like the other Star Wars movies, The Force Awakens, etc., it's so well done. Aside from some of the characters where you can tell that there's like there's a lot of CGI going on there, they actually made a concerted effort to do certain things practically, and you can tell. It brings that world to life.
Basically, for those who don't know what virtual production is, it's where you have like a physical set, and then surrounding that set, instead of having blue screen or green screen, and then, you know, sort of compositing all of that together, they have a virtual digital set that they've put together in something like Unreal Engine, which is very popular now because it can handle like a lot of polygons and a lot of details. And it sort of lets the directors and also the actors can react to the real environment that they're going to be in. Like you brought up Mandalorian, that was one of the first ones that did it.
Right.
And it's becoming more and more popular now. And, you know, you can build like an entire digital set and you can move stuff around. If you see that an actor needs to move through it and it would be better if this box was actually over there, they can in real time move it in the engine so that digital set is reflecting that. Just for people who don't know what it is, because you brought it up.
Yeah, no, so when I first saw The Mandalorian, I had absolutely no idea that that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then I saw the making of, and I was like, wow.
So I'd seen the making of before, and then...
Right,
and then...
no, because I thought that they were in real environments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could have been in the desert in Tunisia, like, like they had been in...
You know what's really, really cool about the virtual production sets?
I wanted to say something
lighting.
Before. Okay, the lighting, but also the fact that it tracks with the camera.
Yeah,
you move the camera around, and the environment moves around with
exactly
in the same way that it would move if it was a real environment.
Because the environment is in a real-time engine.
Yeah,
called Unreal Engine. It's real time, and it's a game engine.
It's very cool, and also the fact that the actors are really placed in that environment is just I had no idea, you know, but a lot of the time when you see actors acting on blue screen, you can tell that they're acting on blue screen.
Yeah,
because they have to imagine.
Like in this movie that we watched, which we're not talking about anymore.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
I have one more thing before we leave the attic. By the way, lightning looks okay.
The lightning looks okay, but as I said, it was the quickening. Should we step out of the attic?
Watch your step. VFX Attic!
I think I got a splinter.
Well, I'm not touching it because it's probably haunted.
Fantastic. Haunted splinter.
You're gonna die!
So, I would like to ask you about your closing thoughts on the Avengers 1998.
I think first of all, it's a great movie to suggest because it's so bad. Although we're not strapped for bad movies to watch.
No, of course not. Well, we had a lot of fun reviewing this, probably a little bit too much.
I think it was worth it just for the amount that we laughed there, because I was just... I hope you leave some of the laughing
I will leave some of it in. I'm not going to leave all of it in, because it goes on for a while, and at some point, somebody listening to this podcast will either be like rolling around on the floor laughing with us, or will be like, come on guys, get it together, or I'm going to turn you off. Yeah.
I think it's not worth your time to watch the film. We watched it so you don't have to.
Well, I mean, I think it would help for you to watch the film, just so that you can follow along with this podcast.
Sure, but like if you're not going to,
you might be able to get like a shitty scene compilation on YouTube or something like that.
I think some people might watch or might listen to a podcast like this to sort of figure out, should I watch this film in the end? The answer is no.
No. Don't bother. But again, like, I mean, I came to this from actually seeing it in 1998, and I was aware that it was absolute shite when I saw it. The nostalgia factor for me is not watching the movie, but it's, I guess, the environment in which I was watching the movie, the time of my life, all of the the sort of Empire magazine. Features on it, the trailers that were coming out, etc. The novelization again as well. So I mean, from that viewpoint, but I didn't, watching it tonight, I didn't feel any kind of warm fuzzies for anything. I just thought it was absolute
tripe.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult for me to actually pay attention. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the conversation about it, and I think that it led to other things. Whenever we went off topic, it was fun.
We're doing one of these every so often,
Yeah.
and I think it's fun to do.
Yeah.
But the actual watching of these sometimes can be a slog, as it was this evening.
May I address the listeners?
Oh, be my guest. Go ahead.
Do you have a film that you would like us to watch? Preferably a good one that won't make us want to slash our faces open with a knife. Perhaps you would like to suggest it on our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is called What's Our Seat Number?
Podcast.
Movie podcast? Was that alright, or would you like to have a stab at it?
Come and Twitter us on Twitter. We have a Twitter on which we Twitter.
Fantastic. So, this has been...
What's Our Seat Number?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's our seat number?